everyone, welcome to the Joking Dolphin Gaming Pod. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew.
Hello.
And Nathan.
I am back.
You are?
He's come back.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you didn't want to come back, but...
I didn't. The second that plane landed in Manchester, I'm like, right, let's turn this around and go. Back to Antalya. But, you know, we can't all have what we want, can we? So, yeah. I had a nice time.
Are you saying you didn't miss us?
Of course I did, but we could do this from anywhere if we wanted to.
You could have done it remotely, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
Let's just say I was too busy travelling. That's a good excuse.
Better than any, I suppose.
No, literally. Had we just arrived? No, I've got no excuse. We could have done it because it was the day after. So, yeah, my bad.
You heard it here first. Next time, you're doing it.
That's it. Coming to you from Cancun.
Shall we move on to the news then?
Yes.
Hey.
Where should we start? What shall we kick off with?
Do you want to kick off with the UK games market?
Sure. Is it exciting?
Well, I hope so, because according to the UKIE trade body, the games market in the UK grew to 4.4% last year. Well, grew by, I should say, not to.
That doesn't sound good, does it?
Doesn't lie, is it? So the Consumer Markets Valuation Report, bit of a mouthful, reports that the consumer market value in the UK, the video game industry, was valued at 7.82 billion last year, compared to 7.49 billion from the year before in 2022. So looks as though we're getting a steady growth back again. The report also made a mention that the game software sales increased by 4.1% to a total of 5.18 billion, which less than 10% of that were from boxed software sales.
That's disappointing.
Is that because less box software is being sold?
Potentially. I mean, there's been a number of games that have come out, I think, that have been digital only, haven't they? So I know one of the recent Like a Dragon games is still digital only. A couple others as well. I can't think off the top of my head. But it's not looking good for physical sales, is it?
It's inevitable, isn't it? We're going towards the all digital future.
Well, to continue with that one, it's saying that the physical software sales have continued to drop with a decline of 5% year on year, whereas with digital console game sales and digital PC and mobile have all seen increases from the year prior. So saying here that the digital game sales rose 5.6% to 2.48 billion, which is still, I suppose, less than physical overall, but it seems to be starting to slowly match up. The digital PC games were up 4.5% to 684 million, and mobile games also went up to 1.52 billion, which is a 4.5% increase. Then we also had the hardware and VR hardware sales. So in terms of just the console hardware, they went up 12%. You also had console accessories that went up 3%, and VR hardware also went up by 11%. So maybe we're seeing a small percentage increase in the VR market.
Is that including like Oculus and things like that? Because they came out with the Oculus 3 last year, didn't they? So
I think it is. It's not specified whether it's just a particular VR brand or if they've added all VR sort of headsets together. But I would suggest it's probably all of them. But apparently not all hardware saw increases from last year, as we had PC game hardware being dropped by 11% compared to the year previous. Wonder if there's any potential look into that. PC not becoming... I'm just saying not becoming popular. I'm sure PC is still like the leading forefront when it comes to like video games.
I think for PCs, they have a longer life cycle because you can upgrade it like bit by bit. That's my perspective anyway.
Yeah,
It's always in a constant state of evolution, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Like with the PC market, it's always growing. There's always, new upgrades, new technology that comes in that everyone's gonna have immediately. But then you'll get that gradual, I suppose, slowdown, because everyone's already bought the upgrades and stuff.
The thing is, PC doesn't really have a cycle, does it? I think that's the difference.
True. There's no defining cycle like a console generation does. So.
But I think with Mark's purchase this year, we're going to see a huge rise in that percentage for the 2024 figures.
You think?
Yeah.
What we buying, Mark? Yeah.
Well, he got his nice shiny new laptop, didn't he? So.
Yeah, but I've no intention of playing games on it.
You never know.
Plus, you can't play mini games on a MacBook.
You're not. You can get Steam on it, can't you?
I've not even tried.
I think you can, but there's slowly starting to,
in terms of gaming.
But overall positive for the UK market. So good news all around there.
At least it's not shrinking, so that's something.
Shall we move on to a survey?
Oh, love a good survey.
That's what I say, Nathan's favourite,
yeah. Well, there's a particular survey that's happened by the Game Developer Collective. It's in regards to live service games. Those things. So it is suggested. So I think 600 developers, I believe, were interviewed for this survey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's suggested that 70% of these developers are concerned about the sustainability of live service games. So 39% of them said they were mildly concerned. 31% were very concerned. The remaining 30 were unsure or had no concerns.
You can see why they're concerned. Because, from their perspective, they see the inner workings of these games. But not only that it's a slog for which games can take people's attention and for how long they can keep their attention.
Oh, well, this does play into it. So they did give the highest percentage reasons as to why they're concerned. So of the ones who were concerned, 62% of them said they were most worried about players losing interest in their service games. And second was... Oh, sorry, that was 63%. 62% said competition from other live service games was what concerned them as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's becoming a saturated market, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's got to a point now as well, is that if you're going to make a live service game, it's got to stand out. So it's got to be different from anything else that's either been done before, or it does things that other things have already done, but better, basically.
Yeah.
And then it's also got to be the amount of content as well that comes out. So if you come out with a game that's very bare bones, I'm surprised it lasts more than 6 months. Maybe even shorter than that. But even then, if you've come out with a game that does have a lot of content at the start, then you've got to build on that. And if you're slow at building that as well, that can kill your game off immediately.
Well, that's it, because your player base will drop, won't it? So
yeah. Once you get to doing so much in it, or you've done everything in it, and there's not going to be a new thing coming out for at least a few months, what's going to keep that person's attention until X expansion comes out or whatever content it is? It's a tricky market to start up in, and unless you truly do something different, probably the most recent, I suppose, live service game that I think is really doing something different and is catching a lot of attention is probably Helldivers 2. Just with the way how they build sort of their world, the content of it is probably actually just not as much as you'd get from most other games. But I think it's how they're interacting with their community and how they're updating stuff. Like I love the whole thing they're doing on Twitter, where it's like they're stealth adding content in, where like certain people will find, they've added this new vehicle in, or some people will find, they've added this new enemy and stuff, and then they'll go on like social media and be like, what are you on about? This isn't in the game. Even though like people have taken like screenshots or video of it, they'll just like flat out deny it as though like they're playing as the Super Earth coalition team. Like, these reports are false, blah blah blah. But it's like it's a fun way of interacting with the community in that way as well. And I think they're doing an excellent job of it. But like, unless you're doing something like that, or I don't know if you're doing like a Fortnite. Like, I know Fortnite has been out for a long time, but it's been quite solid in its content drops, and when it's introducing new content, all these seasons and stuff. Yeah, unless you're doing like one or the other, I don't know how you survive in that market.
Yeah, I think we saw something similar with Fall Guys when that came out. Just talking about one of your earlier points, Matt, because we saw that massive rise in it when they put it on PS Plus. Everyone played it. We had a good time on it. And then eventually, once you played all the courses, you maybe got a couple of wins. The content tended to dry up a little bit, but they eventually came up with like new courses and things to keep people coming back. But there was that kind of interlude where there wasn't anything new. And then they got to a point where they did start porting it onto other systems to kind of keep that player base coming back. And that's the other thing, the only other thing that we can think of that they could do, bring it out platform by platform, like periodically, in order to kind of keep that momentum going.
Yeah, so like stuff like if you're bringing it out on like one platform and you struggle kind of like from the gate, then you're playing like a uphill battle at that point, and you're really gonna find it very difficult unless you've got crossplay to sort of keep the people interested and keep adding that content. I think Fall Guys is an interesting concept as well, because we've seen similar live service games come out on like a PS Plus, like the one that came out. I don't know if it was live service. The Destruction Derby one, when PS5 launched and they
Destruction All Stars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think that was going to be a live service, but then it just I just didn't catch anyone's attention.
Yeah, I don't really hear anything about that though.
Yeah. So, like I said, you've got to be doing something different, or you've got to be doing things better than anyone else, and that's already difficult at the moment. I mean, you've got COD Warzone, you've got PUBG, which is still massively popular on PC, Fortnite, obviously, Destiny 2 still going strong. You could list loads that are going still incredibly well, but you could then list just the equal amount that's just absolutely tanked. Avengers comes to mind.
Also, Xbox have just done grounded. I was about to say Skull and Bones then. That was
done grounded Skull and Bones.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves. Obviously, they've just been ported to PlayStation, haven't they?
Yeah, Sea of Thieves as well, and that's only going to get more popular porting that over. I mean, it's already got a strong player base on PC and Xbox, so again, PlayStation in, and eventually Switch. Is it coming to the Switch? I think it is, isn't it? Or was it not?
I'm not sure.
No, I think that was. I think it was the other two games, wasn't it? Hi-Fi Rush, and was it Pediment?
Yeah, Pentiment.
That was it. Okay, so maybe not Sea of Thieves, but like that, porting that as well. Like the day that Helldivers 2, I don't know if it will eventually, but if it does eventually go over to Xbox as well, that game will just become even bigger than what it already is.
If it makes money, I'm sure it will eventually. I mean, it's doing well. Why wouldn't you? But also, just to finish off on this survey, they also said that 30% of the survey developers are considering adding paid DLC for their next games.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what most of them do, isn't it? So it's no real surprise. I'm surprised it's only 30%, to be honest.
What, for the live service games?
Yes.
Ugh. I don't like it when they go down that route. It's a live service game. If I have to pay 60 British pounds to buy that game, and then you're giving me paid DLC for a live service.
Yeah.
Well, it'll just be a similar model to Fortnite, you'd imagine.
Yeah, but Fortnite, you're getting 1 for free, and 2, all the seasons are free. The only thing you'd be paying for is the battle pass.
Yeah.
If they said battle pass, okay, that's fine. But I mean, if it's like full-on big content stuff, new worlds, weapons, equipment, all that kind of stuff, if they're saying you got to pay for that, then that's why I'll be like, no.
I suppose that's it, though, and it's like, if you're engrossed into a game and you've played it and you've invested in it, then you're more likely to spend a few quid on a battle pass or something, or a skin. Where if you've been let down from the get-go, you're like, right, there's enough stuff to play out there, you'll just drop it and then move on, and that's it.
Well, I mean, I can bring up the example that we talked about on the last episode with Call of Duty, like the 4 Godzilla X Kong bundles that they put together, which each of them cost about 16 quid. That all, again, all of them just unlock this Kong fist melee weapon. That's a bit of a spit in the face. Like, literally, just to get this one thing, you need to buy 4 bundles that are about 16 quid each.
So that's what, £64 just to get a weapon?
Just to get this special melee weapon that doesn't do anything different to any other melee weapon in the game. So, you know, it's stuff like that really annoys me and will put me away from your game. And I get it. I know people will go, well, you don't need to buy it. And it's like, well, that's not the point. It's the principle that they can do it that annoys me. But I mean, it's been coming for a very long time, hasn't it? So,
thing is, you will get idiots who will buy it.
oh yeah, I was the
That's
idiot
what they're
that
banking
bought
on.
all
That's
the
the thing.
stuff like a couple of years ago. Like I bought the 2 bundles because I liked them, but I didn't have to buy those 2 to unlock something else. I just wanted those 2 because they were cool. Now it's like, oh, get these 4 and you get this extra thing. Like, no, stop it. Only content creators and people who are already heavily invested in this game will buy that.
And maybe that's enough.
Well, maybe it is. Doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Well, shall we move on to good things?
Yeah.
Should we talk about a new animator series that's been planned?
Ooh, tell me more.
So, Comedy Central have greenlit an animated series based on Golden Axe,
Ooh, interesting.
former Hall of Fame game with us.
Yep.
Oh, I love Golden Axe.
Great game. So the voice cast will include Matthew Reese, Danny Pudi, Lisa Gilroy, Liam McIntyre, and Carl Tart. I'm going to be honest, I don't recognise any of those names.
Want to say I recognise at least one of them, but I'm not sure it is.
But it will consist of 10 episodes, and the synopsis given is this. Follows veteran warriors Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare, and Gilius Thunderhead as they once again battle to save Uria from the evil giant Death Adder, who just won't seem to stay dead. Fortunately, this time they have the inexperienced and underprepared Hampton Squib on their side.
Okay. It could be an interesting idea where they have like they just introduce a new character that's just like doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
I'm curious that this is Comedy Central. So we're going down a comedic.
I mean, yeah, I can see this being a comedy. I can see how they could do it in like a comedy fashion. I mean, I just loved when I was playing the game. I would just like I'd play with one of my cousins. I'd just keep on like hitting him over the head, grabbing him, and just throwing off the edge of the stage. That was always fun. Can never get to the last stage though. It is surprisingly difficult.
All games of that era.
Well, yeah.
But we are in the golden age of video game adaptations being pretty decent. So here's hoping this might be all right. 10 episodes is quite short, though.
I thought that was
An
quite
anime
long.
Depends on how long
Oh.
they are though. If they're about 30 minutes, I reckon that's probably long enough.
Let's say that Cuphead show was quite short.
Was it? I still need to watch Cuphead.
Weren't
Yeah.
they like 10, 12 minutes long or something?
Yeah, each
Per
episode's
episode.
about 12 minutes. I mean, every now and again there were some longer episodes, but most of them, yeah, were around that.
I need to finish watching that. I watched the first few episodes and really enjoyed them. I've
Yeah.
actually got the game somewhere. Should play that. A lot
You should play co-op with your wife. That'd be a fun time.
Will she kill me?
Probably.
That's literally every co-op game that we play.
I mean, yeah. Will she kill me? Yes. Let's play it then.
What was the last co-op game we played? Oh, A Way Out.
So,
That was
way
it.
out, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you're still alive right now, so you must be doing something right.
yeah. I'm alive. Mark's like...
That's dark.
Well, continuing on with game adaptations, we had one come out quite recently over the last couple of weeks,
We did it.
and it seems to be doing pretty well. And not just the adapt,
It's done all right. Yeah, I
it's
think.
done fine. I think it's got one of the highest rating game adaptations in,
It's certainly up there.
I want to say, Rotten Tomatoes, I think it is. And it's got
I believe
pretty
so.
high one.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, Fallout. Pretty good adaptation, I must say. And well, thanks to the show, it seems to have caught the interest in a lot of gamers as well. Because a lot of people seem to be going back to the Commonwealth and the Wasteland.
Or going for the first time.
Going for the first time. Yep, could be doing that. So, according to Steam's DB post, they reckon the Fallout 76 has managed to break its concurrent Steam record, thanks to the show, which is pretty good. Apparently, it's it got to around about 40,000, I think, which broke its all-time peak concurrent player count. And it wasn't just that as well. There was also Fallout 4, which seemed to have had big peaks over the weekend as well, which got on Sunday to the high of around 84,000, which had tripled its normal player count, which is pretty good. Some of the older games as well seems to have risen from their concurrent averages from the last few years. We've had Fallout New Vegas, which got to around 20,000, and then we also had Fallout 3, which got to about 7,000. But not just that as well. Some other news for the show as well is that Amazon announced they are renewing it for a season 2.
Yep. Probably not a surprise in the slightest. Because it's brought the monies in, hasn't it?
Certainly has. Just going to see here as well, just on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a current rating of around 94%, which is high, and an audience score of 88%.
Not bad. But there's I mean, you've just been through the Steam ratings, but there's also been the European sales charts.
Oh yeah.
Which is included. So Fallout 4 has reached the top of the European sales chart, with sales rising 7,500% week on week. Since its release.
It's not bad, is it?
increase.
Which is insane. So that's top of the European sales chart. Fallout 76 is coming in at number 8. Fallout New Vegas is at number 9, and Fallout 3 is at number 10.
Wow.
So the top 10 European sales chart
Just all
at the time
Fallout
this was
games.
reported were all
So
Fallout
what?
games.
Number 1, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
But not only that, but if you go further down the list, Fallout Classic Collection is coming in at number 43.
That's not bad.
Fallout 2 is at number 57.
Just
Fallout is at number 70.
All cracking top 100.
pretty much the whole collection there. Then you're only missing like what? Tactics and I think it's Brotherhood of Steel. But those two are considered non-canon. So
And they've got that Fallout Shelter thing as well, haven't they?
Fallout Shelters, yeah. Oh, I bet they got a lot of money pumped into that as well.
It's good though. It's nice to see a resurgence in the series, the game series as well. Because even I was thinking last week, because I know like some people that aren't even really gamers talking about it, which is nice. It's a bit like what happened with The Last of Us.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I spoke to a lot of people who watched Last of Us but never played it. I thought that was great listening to them. I've heard some people talking about this at work as well.
Yeah,
like it.
I've got a colleague who's never played a Fallout game, but he watched the series and he's like absolutely in love with it now. So yeah, no, pretty good.
Gaming's cool, people.
Yeah.
That's it. Everyone will be buying Golden Axe soon as well.
Yeah.
Oh god. Not Halo though.
Well, yeah.
We can forget about that one.
Yeah. I just want to drop I suppose a quick spoiler-free review, I suppose, because I've watched the whole series myself.
As I have.
And as a Mark, and I do think probably the biggest compliment I can give is that it absolutely just nails the like aesthetic, and the I suppose like the world building, but also like the humor of the games as well. It's got some very twisted
it's dark humor, isn't it?
Humor. Yeah, it's one of those classic like if you think something goes wrong, there's something else that's just like equally, if not worse, that's just happened. But I will say I think probably like my favorite line from the whole series was the one that the ghoul says in I think it was episode 3. So kind of to try and avoid too much of the spoiler stuff, he kind of comes after he comes to a place after 2 main characters have kind of been around there as well. And like towards the end of everything that's happened, like they have a bit of an encounter that kind of finishes. He has like a line where he says, and the Wasteland also has like a golden rule: thou shalt always be sidetracked and like follow BS all the time. And it's a little plain, but a little dig on like how these type of games where you've got like a main quest, but you've always got like side quests that you'll always be just sidetracked to go on to.
Yeah, that's quite true for me.
Yeah, I think it's true for anyone that's probably like played Fallout or Elder Scrolls games. But no, I absolutely enjoyed it. I mean, I love the ending as well and where we're potentially going. Won't say too much on that, but I just love the whole intertwining stories between the 3 main characters. How like you've got the naive vault dweller who comes up and believes what's right and to do the right thing and doesn't realize the Wasteland is just like nothing is right. There's no rules. And then you've got the Brotherhood of Steel guy who is kind of he doesn't really follow the I suppose the cult of the Brotherhood of Steel, but he's allured by it, like some previous that happens, and he's all about wanting the power. Yeah. And I mean, like getting that power arm as well. That looks absolutely wicked.
Yeah.
I love the power arm. I really thought it might get a bit like goofy or something like that, to try and translate it into live action, but they absolutely nailed it. I thought the pilot looked wicked. And obviously you got like the ghoul who just does not give two pennies about what anyone else is doing. He's focusing on his thing. But then knowing his backstory as well is really interesting in how it's all connected to the world. Really fascinating. And I think this might be my favorite game adaptation ever. I think for me,
Is that because you just love Fallout that much?
it could be, yeah. There's a biasism there. Like, I'm not going to deny, like, The Last of Us is brilliant. Like, the story, characters, the little additions they added and stuff. But
it might be because it does feel a bit more gamey.
I think so. Yeah, it's got more of that like game feel. Like it's taken the game world and translated it to live action, but hasn't tried to ground it or change anything of it. They've literally just gone, right, whatever happens in the games and that kind of stuff, we're just absolutely translating. Like, I think it's just locations as well. Like, I love how California looks absolutely devastated, and like how the vaults all look. They some of those sets are brilliant. Like how they've constructed them and stuff, and just some of like the little Easter eggs as well, where I feel like if you notice it, it's not one of those like, oh, I noticed that reference. They've like really integrated it well into the world, so it's not fan service, if you know what I mean. Do you know like how some things can get translated and they're like, oh, we've just added this for fan service, whereas like I think with Fallout, everything that's been added has like a purpose, but it feels real, and it feels like it belongs in that world rather than just like, oh, this thing just stands out because they wanted to make a silly reference. But again, same for The Last of Us as well. I think The Last of Us is brilliant, and yeah, I think at a personal level, I'm probably leaning more towards Fallout.
There's no complaints for that. I mean, it is a fantastic adaptation. I mean, you can't argue with it, really.
Mm.
I mean, things. Have you seen Westworld?
I've not, but I know it's made by the creators of Westworld. I do want to watch it. Is it a similar like feeling?
Well, I had to draw parallels with the Ghoul and the Man in Black from that series.
Oh, okay.
They are very much similar, sort of lone wolves going out into the desert. It's just they've got this very similar vibe to them, so I can totally see why it's made by the same creators. Jonathan Nolan, the writer.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was absolutely fantastic series.
Yeah. If I do have a slight one nitpick, I think that's might be just because they're holding off for season 2. But there doesn't seem much of the radioactive creatures in this one. Like we've got the rad roaches, we've got the I forgot what they called them now.
Those big salami things.
Yeah.
Salamander things. Salami?
Salami.
That's the wrong word.
Yeah. They're in Fallout 76. These creatures, but you kind of got those, and not much else. There's the bear that appears in episode 2 that you've seen in trailers as well. The Yao Grace, I think it's something like that.
I mean, to be honest, I think this might be just to do character development in this first series.
No, for sure. I think that's good. Yeah, I think if you threw too much at it, then it'd probably be a big distraction. But from where they seem to be leaning to for season 2, I really can't wait. There's going to be maybe some flashbacks for Mark when we watch season 2, and I'll say no more on that because that might be a spoiler.
Actually, one question. What was your feeling about them dropping all the episodes at once? Would you prefer the split? Because you've said before that you prefer.
Yeah, I've had this talk before.
Was it like I love Fallout? Give me all of
Yeah. I think I would have still preferred if it was weekly, because I really enjoy those like week to week talking points with people.
What's the thing? You can't really talk about it, can you?
Well, that's it. It's like, you know, I understand it from a point of view like, oh, people can watch it immediately, they can binge it, get through it, they enjoy it. But I feel like then the buzz about it just dies like very shortly afterwards. Like it really happens to me with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like they drop all the episodes at once, and it's like,
well, they split it last season.
They split, yeah. They split half and half, but again, it was like half drop and
Yeah.
the other half dropped. And I just it's one of those where like you have to, if you, I suppose if you have like a community or a group of friends, you know, you watch things not together, but you talk about TV together. Oh, you know, we both like Strange Things, whatever. And you go into, you both watch it. Someone could watch up to episode 2, another one could have gone up to like episode 4, and then you have to be careful about what you say, because you don't want to things ahead of time that the other person doesn't.
Yeah.
So then it's like, what do I talk? I've got to try and not say things to spoil it.
But I think the reason why they've done it with this is because they were banking on the interest being high so that they could have game sales, and we know that's worked.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see why they've done it for that reason.
Everyone's been to the series is like, oh, I want to play the game now. But then they've just gone and bought it, and they're reaping the rewards quite clearly.
Yeah, but I feel like the same happened for The Last of Us, but that came out weekly.
I don't think it's had the sales of these have, though, are they?
True.
We're talking about games that are how many years old?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what, 76 came out in 2019, 2020?
No, but the original Fallout to be like.
Oh yeah, like the original Fallout
was
like over, well, almost 30 years now. You're looking at. I suppose for a video game adaptation, I can see it from that point of view of, okay, if we drop it, that'll get people talking. Obviously, it's worked. People have invested in buying all the games. I'll still concede that New Vegas is the best one, but a lot of people will like Fallout 4. So yeah, I suppose from that point of view I can see it, but I'm a very traditionalist when it comes to TV. I want my weekly talks about it, because then I've got something to look forward to next week, rather than I've binged it and now like what, I've got to move on to something else.
Plus, the problem with this kind of thing is that if it does release and you haven't got much time to watch them, you run the risk of it being spoiled elsewhere.
Well, I say, like, I didn't, when it first dropped, I didn't watch it for a few days, maybe in like a week. I was like, I'm invested in Final Fantasy VII. I need to get this completed. But then, like I said, I had a colleague talk about it at work, and then I was like, well, now I've got to watch it, because like, this guy's already seen it all, and I want to talk about it. So I don't know. There's always pros and cons in there. I don't think there's a right way of watching it. Everyone's just got a preference. But I'd highly recommend it. Even if you're not familiar with what Fallout is, if you're just a gamer, you enjoy worlds, characters, that kind of stuff. Maybe even not, if you're even not a gamer, to be honest, I'd recommend Fallout.
But I think one of my colleagues has said that they think it's one of their favourite shows ever, and they're not a gamer. So
big praise.
What's that tell you?
Very big praise, yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks, chaps. We'll be back next Tuesday. You can follow us across social media by Joking Dolphin on YouTube and Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. Until next time, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Take care.
Bye.